Hello, I'm Chef Zach Vega with AVI Fresh at the University of Mount Union. Today we're going to put together a nice meal for your tailgate, including 2 desserts, a nice entree, and a special beverage that you can make for your guests, which is great during football season, which we'll actually make right now. What we're going to do, we're going to take equal parts pineapple juice, Sprite or Sierra Mist, and grape juice. And we're going to combine them together in our little dispenser here, and we'll refrigerate it. So we'll go ahead and add our pineapple juice first. And our grape juice. We'll give that a quick stir. And then we're going to finish it off with our Sierra Mist here. Now, for the best results, you want to make sure that you refrigerate this for at least an hour on ice before you serve it to your guests. Next up, we'll make one of our desserts. We'll make our Munch, which is pretty famous here on campus. What it is you take white chocolate, melt it down, then you add Chex Mix to it, 2 different kinds of Chex Mix, corn and rice, and then M&Ms, peanuts, and Cheerios, all tossed together. It's a really nice treat for your guests during a tailgate. So what I have here, what I've done a little bit advanced, I've actually melted some chocolate down here that you can see here in the bowl. One thing you always want to do, and you can see this in the recipes, that you want to take a little bit of vegetable oil and add that to your chocolate. That'll help your chocolate actually thin down a little bit, and so you get a better consistency, and it'll coat your product a little better. So we'll take this off the heat. Give this a real good stir. What you want is essentially a fondue consistency on the chocolate here, which you can kind of see how nice and velvety that is right there in the bowl. We'll let that rest for just a minute. While that's resting, we'll go ahead and make our dry mix here, which will take our 2 different kinds of Chex Mix, which always wrap up, make sure you're staying fresh. That's our rice and our corn, rolled gold pretzels. Here actually I have honey roasted peanuts, which are the same peanuts that we use to make our house-made peanut butter here on campus. Cheerios. And then last but not least, we'll add our M&Ms. Now that we have our 2 bowls, we'll go ahead and give this a little bit of a toss to combine everything. And then we'll slowly work in our melted white chocolate. Just a little at a time. And you want to make sure that your chocolate cools down just a little bit so you don't melt the M&Ms and they don't get all swirled in there and not looking like M&Ms should be. Add the rest of our chocolate. So just be careful not to mix too hard. You don't want to break up all the great pieces in here that you have. But once everything's well combined, you want to take a sheet tray or a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, and you want to turn this out onto it and let it cool for at least an hour or so before you eat it. So go ahead and turn this out. You can see how great that looks with all the different colors and textures. We'll go ahead and set this off to the side so it can cool. Next up, we'll make our Playdough cookie dough, which is one of the more famous things that we do here on campus. It's actually 2 different doughs, which is the same cookie dough. We just put a little food dye in it so we can get that well-known purple Raider purple. Let's start. Here I have 1 pound of butter that I let sit out for about an hour and a half or so at room temperature. we'll combine that with our sugar. As anybody knows that bakes cookies, like myself, you want to cream the butter with the sugar. And we'll just slowly add this sugar in here. And once it gets going, you can turn the speed up on your mixer a little bit. And once well combined, go ahead and knock the speed down a little bit. You slowly add the wet ingredients. So you add your egg, your baking soda, iodized salt. Always iodized for baking. You never want to put kosher salt in anything you're baking. And then just give that a minute or so to go ahead and work before you start adding the first of your flour. The nice thing about a sugar cookie recipe is that it always comes together nice and easy. As you can see, our dough's a little loose. We would let that mix about another 5 minutes or so. And once it starts to become like a nice smooth dough, that's when you would want to split it in half and then add the desired colors of your choice. If you wanted red and blue or black and orange, or in this case, we're going to do our purple and white for our Play-Doh Raider cookies, which actually, through awesome magic, I have a little bit done. And so this is what you want to see here with your two different types of dough that I was talking about. Now, how you get the Play-Doh is that you actually take the dough and you work them into one another just by hand real quick. This isn't something that we would normally like mix all together, but it's something that you would want to do by hand, just usually right before you go ahead and scoop them out. That way you get that nice, natural-looking marble color to everything. Just like how we have here. Then when you portion them up, usually I like to do like about 3/4 of a scoop. So something about the size of like a quarter or so. Roll them out. Place them on a nice sheet like this, which through magic we already have done. Throw a few more here on the tray. And we'll go ahead and put in our fancy oven behind us. All right, since we have our desserts out of the way and they're ready to serve, we'll actually work on our main entree. One of the things that we love to do here is that we actually like to make things that normally wouldn't be made. So in this case, we're going to make some popcorn chicken here. So what we like to do, I like to take a nice AP flour, just like this one here. Combine it with a little granulated garlic, a little granulated onion, kosher salt, good amount of crushed black pepper, smoked paprika, and a little bit of cayenne pepper, just for a little heat. Go ahead and stir this together well. And this would actually be the flour dredging mixture for our chicken. Which actually, the chicken here, I have marinated in buttermilk overnight. So we'll go ahead and take this out. And I season with just a little salt and pepper. Just a regular chicken breast you can find at any store. We'll go ahead and add to our flour. Safety first. Let's toss this together real gently, just so everything's nice and evenly coated. We can set it off to the side until we're ready to fry it up. Next up, we'll actually work on our mashed potatoes for the dish, which will take a nice hot pan. We'll melt down some butter because good mashed potatoes need butter, and they also need a good amount of heavy cream. So we'll heat that up here in our pan. And while that's working, we'll actually get our gravy going as well. So here in the second pan, I actually have a little more butter. It's good. Butter makes everything great. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to make a roux, which a roux is a classic French technique in which you take melted butter or any melted fat. It could be olive oil or coconut oil, something like that if you have dietary restrictions, and some type of flour. And again, it could be any kind of flour, an almond meal, almond flour, garbanzo bean flour, anything like that. And what you do is you take your fat, you render it down, just like so. You can see how nice and quickly these little butter pats here melt down. Go ahead and add your flour right to your pan. And the key to any good roux is when you're on high heat, you always want to make sure that you're stirring very vigorously and very quickly, just like how we're doing here. And so the key to any roux and anything made with a roux is you want to actually make sure that you're cooking out that flour. So go ahead and turn our heat down just a little bit here. We can shut off the heat for our cream and butter mixture for our potatoes, so that's ready to go. And you can see just how that roux is kind of turned just a light brown color right here on top. That means that it's just about ready to go. So give that a couple more seconds. And obviously, any gravy, any country gravy is always good with heavy cream. So go ahead and add that to our pan. You can see how fast this comes together, just like that. Going to add a little more. Take it off the heat just a little bit. And we'll bring it back to the stove here just to finish it up. And we'll add a little cracked black pepper. And again, a little kosher salt. Oh, a little butter there that tried to get away. And we'll stir to combine here. And if your gravy gets a little thick, you can always add just a little bit of stock or a little bit of water, just to loosen things up a little bit. Then you always want to make sure that you recheck your seasonings. And you can see how great that gravy looks already. Just nice and velvety, nice and smooth. And that's what you're looking for right there. Just a nice consistency like that. Also, you want to be able to take a spoon and nicely coat the back of it, just like so. So we'll go ahead and turn that heat off on there. Let that go, and then our cream and butter mixture is ready for our mashed potatoes. And through magic, we have some potatoes that are already steamed for us. And I don't know about you, but I like nice fluffy mashed potatoes. And what we'll do here is actually we're going to whip them here in our little tabletop mixer. And we'll start on a nice low speed, just to start. Now, as that's working, of course, any good meal, you always want to make sure that you're seasoning everything well with kosher salt, black pepper. So add a little bit of that in there so it can start to work. And then we'll take our nice cream and butter mixture here and add that to our potatoes. Bring that down just to check the consistency. Scrape the sides down a little bit. Looking good. All right, our potatoes are done, and we're just about ready to put the rest of our meal together. I will go ahead and take our chicken that we already seasoned up real nice. And we'll go ahead and fry that here in our little tabletop fryer. And we'll let that cook, and then we'll put everything together so we can serve everything for the guests. Now that we did a little cleaning up, we can finally present our meal. One thing we'll do to finish up real quick, we'll take a little bit of butter and we'll heat our corn up. Give it a nice quick saute here in a nice hot pan. And while that's sauteing, our Munch came out great, just like you see. And to make it a little bit easier, I know nice big piece would be like this would be good for me. I know not everyone's like me, so we'll go ahead and break it up just a little bit. Place it in our nice little bowl. There we go. You can see how great that looks next to our Raider Punch. And our cookies are actually done. So we can go ahead and plate these up real quick on a coarse purple platter. So we'll switch our corn off. And then to build a Raider bowl, nice and simple, we have a nice little vessel here. Take a nice generous scoop of the mashed potatoes down here on the base. Our chicken's just about done, right there. Go ahead and add that to our potatoes. We'll take a nice generous portion of our gravy, pour that right over top. Take our corn right into the bowl. Little nice mild cheddar cheese smothered on top there. And then, of course, got to make it look nice, especially if you're having guests over. Nice little fresh parsley. So, as you can see, we have our Raider bowl, our Play-Doh Raider cookies, our Munch, and our Raider Punch. So, if you ask me, I think that's any nice fitting way to greet your guests for a tailgate. Again, I'm Chef Zach Vega with AVI Fresh at the University of Mount Union, and thanks for being with me today.